welcome back to Afternoon Express, and thank you so much for spending your Wednesday afternoon with us. Now, Sethu Mbuli is the co-founder of the Albinism support group and blog Love the Skin. Last year, she was a part of the group that received the Queen's Young Leader Award by Her Majesty herself, Queen Elizabeth II, at Buckingham Palace. Head over to our social media platforms if you have any questions for Sethu, and remember to use the hashtag Afternoon Express in all of your comments. Sethu, welcome to studio.
Thank you so much for having me.
First of all, Love the Skin is such a powerful statement, and I'm sure it's been a journey for you in loving your skin and loving how you were brought onto this earth. So tell me about young Sethu, baby Sethu.
Right, so I was born and raised in the Eastern Cape, King Williamstown, by my grandmother. Both my parents passed away when I was quite young, so I was raised by my grandmother in rural Eastern Cape. But I guess my story is a bit, weird in a sense, because I moved from Eastern Cape to Cape Town, so there's that difference, jarring difference with that as well, because I have that experience of rural Eastern Cape life where my grandmother didn't know much about albinism, but then the different side of it where my family was more supportive and had more sort of support around them. So I experienced both of those things.
Absolutely. So you have now, through your journey, discovered and rather created Love the Skin. So what specifically does this blog tackle? What does it deal with? Are you very confrontational in your approach, or are you taking a step back and more supporting?
Right, so we found Love the Skin back in 2016 with a friend of mine. I mean, then initially it was around just the perceptions of albinism in the media industry, especially in South Africa. So I was working in radio at the time, and I found that through my own story, through telling it and also bringing on people on radio and telling their stories through that platform, I was able to sort of empower them and empower other people to sort of see themselves in the stories that I tell and in my own personal story. So I saw the power of that, and I wanted to extend that to other people as well, and to young people specifically who growing up who might not see themselves reflected in images that are shown within the media. So that was the main aim. And I think through interviewing people with albinism specifically, not just about the struggle of albinism, but also the nuanced experiences, the day-to-day experiences of just like, what do I like? You know, what's my career? What am I interested in? Just seeing those parts of people with albinism, it really humanizes and really lets you see that it's just beyond the obviously, albinism is part of your identity, and you can sort of identify with that, but there's plenty more to reflect.
More.
Right.
Absolutely. And I know yourself and Regina have had the opportunity to work together and collaborate. And I'm not sure if your misconceptions and the perceptions that you've come across through your interaction with people is any different from Regina's. Has it been? Yeah,
just reflecting a bit what she was saying, and also around the nuanced experiences of people with albinism. I think what I encounter a lot is around this idea that one size fits all, that we're all the same. I mean, we all have different backgrounds, different experiences of the condition itself. So my eyesight might not be the same with someone else's eyesight
or
as well.
sensitivity to the sun on your skin.
Right. So there's different experiences and different backgrounds of people with albinism. So I think what I've stopped doing is trying to think that I can stand for everyone else. So I mean, I share my experience as much as I can, and I give a platform for people to share their experience as well. So I think that's what I try to do with most.
I don't think you're trying to do it. I think you're doing it so perfectly and so eloquently so. And speaking of, someone was tra-la-laing with Queen Elizabeth II all the way in Buckingham Palace. Congratulations on the award you won last year.
Much.
How was the experience for you? Was it kind of like an out-of-body shell shock?
It was. It really was a whirlwind. It happened in like 2 minutes, but it was in reality 25 minutes that we spent at Buckingham Palace. And to tell you the truth, I don't remember much, but I just remember shaking her hand and her saying something. I don't remember much.
You're like, sure. How are you? Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so beautiful. How have you been able now, in terms of your growth from that platform that you were given last year to now we're halfway through 2019? What kind of an impact do you think this has had on communities?
I think the first impact really has been on young people, because a lot of young people have reached out to me to say, listen, just seeing you there with the Queen, it's just seeing your face, you didn't have to say anything, just seeing someone who looks like me, that meant everything. I think those sort of comments really made sort of this journey and this job really worth it. But also using that sort of platform to engage with communities and engage with other organizations that work in albinism to collaborate and push community initiatives as well has been quite helpful. So I'm grateful for it.
We're grateful for you, Sethu. Sethu, you're doing such incredible work. And on social media, we've asked you if you've got any questions for Sethu, and trust me, girl, they have been coming in. We've got one from Usimpiwe here and says, does she still experience criticism, and how does she respond to critics?
Thank you so much, Simpiwe, for that question. I think the main thing for me really is about whether I feel it's someone I feel safe to take the criticism from. So is it someone who is in the industry, someone who I know, who has experience in the, running an NGO? And if so, I will take it. And otherwise, if it's something I feel like it's constructive, I really struggle to deal with it. Sometimes I will be honest, but often my thing is like, I will ignore it if it's something that's trolling or something like that. But generally, if it's constructive, I do take well to it.
It's very difficult to separate trolls to those that actually have something better, more for you, and want to see that growth in you. And a lot of people say, do not take criticism from people that are less successful as you. I know that's very controversial on its own, but hey, take it as you will. We've got another comment here from Ntabeng, and he or she says, wow, it's so encouraging to see someone with special skin color fighting for the rights as a human. I love them so much. You are special. And they put that in all caps.
Thank you so much for that comment.
Yeah, that is so beautiful. I love the encouragement. I love the positivity coming through on social media. We've got Sheila here saying, what a beauty. So unfair for her to live in fear and under attack from fellow humans.
I think that's also another misconception around the fear part of it. I think there's different layers socially around social acceptance and around fear. Obviously, there are different experiences within the African continent, but I will say there are different experiences that people have of albinism, and it just depends on where you are within the context and also your background as well.
Absolutely. I think it's important not to put a blanket approach on everything, but deal with the individual at hand. And thank you so much for doing so and being the voice, being the powerhouse behind Love the Skin.
Thank you so much for having me.
Beautiful.